In democratic societies and democratic countries, general elections is the big party or considered to be the biggest party for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, because it basically belong to everyone regardless the level of understanding of knowledge of political conditions or general knowledge of political condition, ladies and gentlemen. Now, why we believe that it is not necessary to be done? We have four arguments here. Number one, that democracies belong to everyone, so regardless the layers of the layers or the level of knowledge about politicals. Number two, that it is not necessary because there is also requirement for those who want to be chosen. Number three, that it will very high political cost. Number four, that it will create any harms. I will further explain to you these arguments, but before that, let me give the arguments. Let me give me three rebuttals toward the first speaker of the government, the Prime Minister. Upon the motion, this House will require individuals to pass a political general knowledge test in order to vote. Number one, she said about that this is crucial for democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, why? If it is crucial for democracy, why we have to burdens or give the burdens to all of the society, the rest of the society, to pass this test, ladies and gentlemen? Why we don't see that there is because it is urgent. The most important thing who is urgent is the elite politics, ladies and gentlemen. So those who is actually going to be chosen, they have to be passed the fit and proper test, and they have to fulfill the requirements. That is more crucial rather than we only give the requirement to those who want to vote to pass the test of political general knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. Now, point number two is that harming peoples if we do not apply or implicate this policy, ladies and gentlemen, because we know that it is not harming anyway. If someone choose someone a wrong persons as the candidate or house representative or even presidents, the one who have to be blamed is not the voters, but the one who set the regulations, set the requirement for those who can be able or eligible to be voted or to be the candidate of house representative or the candidate of the presidents. That the one have to be blamed, that the one who is responsible the harming our societies and harming the future of Indonesia next 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. Number three, she mentioned about the benefits that after having this policy we are going to have the voters which is more analytical and more objective, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies, now I have to remind you that this is a political conditions in democratic countries that everyone have the right to vote regardless the considerations, even though you don't have any knowledge about the political, even though you only choose someone because you are of interest. For example, I choose Krisdayanti as the House of Representative, ladies and gentlemen, simply because I idolizing her because she is my favorite singer. Now, if she cannot conduct or act or having the performance as the House of Representative member, it's not because of my fault. It's because the fault that this requirement, why this requirement can be passed by Krisdayanti, ladies and gentlemen. So setting of the requirement to be chosen as the candidate of legislative or candidate of House Representative member have to be revised, not the person who voted to have to be passed the certain test, ladies and gentlemen. Now come to my arguments. Number one, that the essence of democracy is basically belong to everyone. Everyone has the right to choose anyway, ladies and gentlemen, regardless the layers or the level of the education, regardless the level of knowledge about the political. Now, if you see that there is also that there are thousands or millions people have the right to vote, is they are the vote their aspirations and their right to vote is being restricted because of their knowledge. We are not having in democracy, ladies and gentlemen, because basically democracy, regardless your knowledge, regardless your education level, you still have the right to vote, because basically democracy is belong to every single layers of societies. Remember that the principle of democracy is from societies, by societies, and for societies. Why we have to restrict someone's right in order to vote just because someone is not knowledgeable enough in terms of politics? It will ruin the essence of democracy. So what I can say is that why we do not want to apply this policy is because it will ruin the essence of democracy, and the essence of democracy is not there. It's belong to everyone regardless the level of knowledge of the understanding upon the political condition, ladies and gentlemen. Now, number two, that this is not necessary because that there is a requirement also for those who want to be chosen. For those who want to be the candidate of House Representative, they have to fulfill the requirements. they have to fulfill the past fit and proper test like a fit and proper test. That's why when we choose whoever going to be chosen, they have already passed the requirements, and that's why whoever who going to be chosen, it will give that they are qualified person, that they are eligible persons to be the next candidate or to be the House of Representatives member, or even become the eligible to be the presidents. So it is not necessary, because basically we have the requirements for those who want to be chosen, House of Representatives member or presidents. That's why we do not want to apply the required individuals to pass a political general knowledge test in order to vote. Now, number three, I can say that it's a very high political cost based on the mechanisms given by the Prime Minister that will be conducted every 5 years, ladies and gentlemen. And if someone do not pass, that he or she can follow or joins the test next 5 years. Now consider that these political conditions, that very high political cost regarding because of the general elections. Now if we have to open, or we have to conduct this certain test in order to test the political general knowledge and to require individuals, there will be a lot more cost that have to be sent by the government. It is not feasible anyway, and it will burden the government more and more. It will harms the futures, because one of the cause of the corruptions happens here and there is because of the high political cost whenever they want to be a president or want to be the leader of a certain region, ladies and gentlemen. Now I want to say also why we do not want to apply this policy, because it will create more harms. Number one, that it will ruins a person's right to vote just because he is not knowledgeable. And another thing is that it also increased the number of non-voters. Remember, even though we do not apply this policy, there are a lot of thousand people or even million people are become non-voters, because simply they do not want to join the general elections. It will take their times and etc. Now if they have also passed this test, people having the interest to join or to give the participations in general elections also decrease, because they have another burden, have another things to do, and they have to learn and have to study in order to have the right to vote. They will not do it anywhere, or in that sense I can say that it's not effective. And even though it is conducted, there will be thousands and even millions more people become non-voters. Another things that harms will be created, that also can be harms, because it will be used by political party in order to win the competitions in general elections. By then I beg to oppose. Thank you.